Hey there, this is your old pal, Mr. Cook, and we're going to go through the 10.1 to 10.3 review. I'm going to start from scratch with my calculator, but I want to have my calculator out, obviously, to answer a bunch of these questions. So, make sure you have yours out too, so I can help you out. All right, so the first question says convert each degree measure to radians. Whenever you got to convert from degrees to radians or radians to degrees, um, the same thing is going to be true. It goes something like this. If you know some angle measurement, right, like in degrees, so degrees, you can find an equivalent angle in terms of radians in the following way. Okay, so like if you know the degrees and you know the radians, let's call that y. If you take the number of degrees that you have, okay, and then if you divide that by 180, it's going to be equal to the number of radians over pi every single time, every time, 100% of the time. So you can just set up a proportion using just this one identity, this one conversion, and you can solve every one of them. So like, watch what I'm going to do, okay? So I want to convert from degrees to radians, right? So 120 is 120 degrees, right? So that's going to be my x value. I'm just going to plug that in over here. 120 degrees over 180 equals y radians. So what I'm going to do is solve for the y value. So here's the proportion that I get. 12 over 180, or sorry, 120 over 180 is equal to y over pi. So what I do is, let me change that back to an x because I'm going to keep referencing that, in a bit. I'm going to take that fraction, 120 over 180, and I'm just going to type it in my calculator to reduce it. I know how to reduce it by hand, but you can always use your calculator just to reduce the fraction. So 0.666, you might know what fraction that is, but if you don't, you can hit the math button and then just put fraction, and then it'll give you the fraction 2/3. So that 120 over 180 turns into a 2/3. And then the last thing I need to do is get the y all by itself. So I just multiply both sides by pi. So 2 over 3 pi is equal to y in terms of radians. That's my answer. 120 degrees equals 2 over 3 pi, 2/3 of a pi, or 2 pi over 3. And it works every time. I'm not joking. So even with a negative degree, let's use negative 10. So I'm just going to plug it in for x over here. So negative 10 degrees over 180 is equal to y over pi radians. So let's reduce it as much as possible. We can, if you want, you can use your calculator for this. I'm just going to simplify this fraction. I know the zeros at the end will knock off. So I got negative 1 over 18. So negative 1 over 18. And then if I multiply both sides by pi, I've got my answer for y. Y is equal to negative 18, 1 over 18 times pi. So this angle measurement, negative 10, is equal to negative 1/18 of a pi. There you go. That's the answer in terms of radians. It's that easy. All right, let's see how this changes if I've got radians, okay, and I need to convert it to degrees. This is going to be like some huge difference, right? It's going to be such a huge, disgusting thing that we have to do. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be really easy. So taking the radian value, right, I'm going to plug that in for y now, okay? So I've got 61 pi over 36, and then I've got to divide all that by pi, and that's equal to x over 180 degrees. All right, so check this out. Ready? When I divide that pi in there, all it does every time is it'll cancel out the pi's. Isn't that really nice? It just cancel them out immediately. So you get x over 180 equals 61 over 36. And then if you want to get the x by itself, you multiply by 180. So x equals 61 times 180 over 36. And then you just, use your calculator to figure out what that's going to be. So let's see here. 61, oops, not 67, darn it. 61 times 180. And then you divide that by 36. And there's your angle measurement. That's 305 degrees. Don't forget your units on that too. it's easy to forget the degree sign. And, you can do the same thing with the next one. So x over 180 is equal to the y value, which is negative 25 over 18 pi divided by pi. So do you remember what this side does? That little pi, all it does is just cancel out the other one. That's it. So you get a brand new fraction. It's just going to be x over 180 equals negative 25 over 18. Then you just multiply both sides by 180, and you get your answer. X equals negative 25 over 18 times 180. Type it into your calculator, and you'll get some nice answer. Let's see, negative 25 over 18, and then times 180. Boom, negative 250. So negative 250 degrees. All right, so this is equal to negative 250 degrees. Those ones should be pretty easy. I think that you learned that in like 10-1 or something. But, just use your little proportion, and it solves it every single time. Okay, I'll just, end that video. Just first 4 questions, and then I'll probably do like a couple at a time. Maybe like, I don't know. I guess I could, no, you know what? I'll keep going. Let's do 5 and 6 also, and then I'll do the next 6 on the next video. Find the measure of each angle. Okay, well, I guess they're looking for the red one in here, so let's find out what that is. So it looks like for this angle, I go in a complete full circle, right? If I go in a complete full circle, that means that I go 360 degrees. So I went 360 degrees already. And since I start at 0, and if I'm going counterclockwise, that's the positive angle measurement direction. It's a positive 360. If I was going the other way, clockwise, that'd be a negative 360. Well, we'll see that. I guess we won't see that in the next one. Okay, that's nice. And then also I've got this, so that's 360. And then I have an additional amount, this much left over, and it's going to be this angle measurement, 115. So I'm going to add on 115 degrees, and that'll give me my total angle measurement. So 360 plus 115, if I add those together on my calculator, that'd be 475 degrees. So there we go. There's our answer for this measure of that angle. Number 6, well, let's see here. If I follow the red, it goes from here all the way over to here. That doesn't help out too much. Oh, actually, there is something that helps out. Look at this. It says that I've got pi fourths left over. Okay, pi fourths tells me I'm going to answer this thing in terms of radians instead of degrees. But I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay? When I was in high school and I learned all this Algebra 2 trigonometry stuff, I had the hardest time thinking about stuff in terms of radians. So what I used to do is I would take that radian value and I'd just convert it to a degree. And then at the very end, I'd convert it back to a radian. I know it takes a little bit more time to do that, but for me personally, it just really helped me out to think of it in terms of just degrees, because there's a lot of stuff to learn in trigonometry. And if I can just focus on the stuff that I know, it just tended to make it a lot easier for me personally. Okay, so sorry, I just had to get a little water break there. So I'm going to convert that pi fourths into degrees. Some of you might already know what that's going to turn into. Fine, just convert it in your head or whatever. But maybe I'd use the proportion up top again. So x over 180 is equal to pi over 4 over pi. So the pi's would just cancel out. So I'd get x over 180 is equal to 1/4. So if I multiplied 180 by both sides, I get x is equal to 1/4 times 180, which is just going to be 45. So this ends up being just 45 degrees. That's what I would write it as, just 45 degrees. Now, if I'm thinking about it in terms of degrees, this makes it a lot easier for me personally, just to kind of visualize what's going on. What this is saying is that the angle that I made that goes from here to here is almost a full circle. It's just missing that part of it, 45 degrees. So in terms of degrees, what is a full circle? A full circle is 360 degrees, right? So if I'm short by 45 degrees, then I would subtract away that 45 degrees to give me my angle measurement. 360 minus 45 is 315. So this is a 315 degree angle that I found, okay? But remember, I got it answered in terms of radians. So what I'm going to do now is just convert it back into radians. So I'd have 315 for the degrees over 180. I'm just, plugging it back into this formula over here. So 315 over 180 is equal to y over pi. Then I, simplify that fraction using my calculator. Those are some big numbers. So 315 over 180, enter, and then change it back to a fraction. 7/4. Okay, so that fraction is really just 7/4. And then I'd multiply the pi over there, and that would give me my answer. 7/4 times pi. That's the answer in terms of radians. That's what I like to do. I don't know if that helps you out at all, but radians were kind of a big mystery to me. So that was the little trick that I learned to kind of get around that. Okay, that's it for this video. So first 6, now let's go to the next 6, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.